So I carry this in my heart, my love for my mother, which I really express most days to her, because right now, I'm just in a very needy period of my life. And it's the strangest feeling, because you know there's no good reason for you to feel bad, anything wrong. You're a good person. You walk outside, you breathe, you smoke a little weed, you make a lot of videos that nobody listens to, and to get a fair amount of exercise and body fairly well, it's not a bad accomplishment in this world if you've tried to do all of those you needed to. And I don't go and play squash. You know, just play squash. And I said, I really couldn't do that. She looked at my body and said, oh, yes, you could. But she doesn't realize that I couldn't put myself in a room full of walls and close the door and hit a ball against the wall and say I'm having a good time. I would eat my own skin. I'd have to be, I don't want to be in there. I'm claustrophobic. I hate white sports. Right? White people are so competitive, you know? I want to know, what did you do with your heart today? Not how good your hockey stick is, you know? And don't tell me, oh, well, I did this. Just show me. Show me you did something with your heart today. Show me you grieved, or you reached, or you joyed, or you created, or at least you endured another day with your heart. And you said, thank you, heart, for all you endured. Thank you to my high heart. Oh, this world is hard for our heart, right? The word heart is almost like the word hard. Oh, it's hard, isn't it? The things people do, the things people say. Oh, the things we do, the things we put ourselves in the way of feeling or accommodating or enduring or having inflicted upon us. It's, just by being born almost, right? Or just going somewhere, getting in our car one day. Not that because we ran into a telephone pole, but because other tiny little swordy, venomous-y things go on around us. And people are mean. And there isn't enough to go around. And not just the money. And we do protect what we have, jealously. Don't we? And those of us who do find some joy and peace in this world, we don't find it with other white people. We find it with white women. Oh, they're busy. They're performance driven. They've got lots of carrots and lots of sticks. But what about all the little things in between? What about the order that makes sense to our nature? That white woman just passed me. She was walking like she was a soldier. Big hips, square body. Probably a nice working mother psychopath. And she's motivated. She's getting her steps in. Or maybe she's just so relaxed. Another good symbol. It's the spirit of a spiral. She's so relaxed, she's just enjoying the walk. In any case. There we go. I feel like for the day. I used to take buses, and I could just get on a bus, go to the ferry, go on, and not anymore. I realized, I was getting upset on the bus. I just didn't believe in them anymore. I lost my faith, I lost my trust. And once you lose your trust in an organization, it's gone. I just lost my trust. I don't believe in them. I don't believe that someone else at the mercy of the Oceanside BC Transit. I just don't. Ever, 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 ever. And I've learned it so well. I forced myself to learn it well. And they taught me. I said, what are you trying to teach me? What kind of negative reinforcement is this? Right? And because people who are incapable of the worst, if passable violence, are never capable of dealing with it, nothing is ever done. So how do you deal with groups whose violence is found to be impossible to change? Or even to get them to acknowledge? What do you do? And this is the problem of my life. Dealing with the magical and torturous of adults. various social, sexual, and religious and professional obligations. How do you get them to change their language from violence to vitality? Listen to someone. Anyone can. I don't know always know what they're sick with, but they make me a little bit sick. That's how I know. They make me, and most people I meet are sick. They make me sick. And it's been enough people in my life that now it's like I'm less convinced by the facade that people show me that they're well. And if you think about sickness, it's not your job to just snap your fingers and be well, because I need you to. To be offended by the sickness of others is not considered good etiquette among those of us who want to be helpful to human beings. Oh, you're sick? Ugh, that hurts me. I won't die. But yet, a lot of the sicknesses people have, we come to know about them because they first inflict them upon us. And then I was like, okay, well, they're sick, but no, they're sick. I hate their sickness. If they had told me, hey, look, I'm sick and I have uncontrollable compulsions to hurt people, I would say, oh, that sucks. You know? And unfortunately, I don't think there's any help with that. That my interests tend to ape a sufficient consideration or provision for the voice and safety of others. Oh, darn, right? No narcissist is ever competently diagnosed because it's such a prevalent condition. In fact, the disease in its entire sort of career and genesis and articulation attends people's matriculation into every group in the world, including their own family. That's the primary training conditions of the white worker, is the industrial diseases and poisons which get into and infect the behavior and the spoken and unspoken language. There's a reason why there's a wage in language, because it's a measure of death, a measure of lethal influence upon your nature, which means an elimination of your nature that no one's allowed to complain about. Right? Imagine having wolves and treating them like mice for 1,000 years, and one of the mice saying, I think I'm a wolf, and everyone going, you're a schizophrenic. I think you're just wolves acting like mice, which is why everyone keeps killing each other in ways that we barely even have retained the will to notice. Oh, shut up. Human beings, if you notice, are incredibly good at hurting each other in ways that even are against the law. If you've ever come across this, or have come across it a lot, as I have, you don't really know what to think about it. It's a lot to think about. If you've lost any family in any way, if there's diseases in your family, or abuse, you don't know what to do with it. Let's say, I don't. I walk on this beach at the age of 50, and I don't know what to do. By the time I was in my 20s, I would sit on the beach with my mom and say, you know, Dad's a real problem. I sat on a balcony in an apartment and said, you know, Dad's a real problem. And now she's 75 and I say it to her and she understands what I mean. I told her for years, you've got to stop talking to Dad. You will never feel right until you stop talking. She says, oh, I can't. He's the father of my children. You've got to stop talking. You notice that every time you talk to him, you feel bad. Every time you talk to him, you get angry. You can't talk to him. It wasn't maybe the nicest solution, but it was the solution. And eventually she stopped. And it began the greatest period of healing, the last 15 years of my mother's life, when she stopped interacting with my father. And then I said to her, you know, you might want to stop interacting with your daughter. But she didn't. And so abuse has followed time and time again. Now we're learning more about my sister's perspective. And I'm saying to my mom, you've got to get Lindsay to stop talking to her dad. Oh, but she feels bad. And nothing is going to change. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what she wants. The fact is, medically, he's not going to change. You've got to stop talking. You've got to stop talking to him. Nothing good will come unless you do that. It's an addiction. People get addicted to narcissists. They get addicted to them. It's like being in a casino. They're addicted to them. You think one day you're going to win big, your dad is going to finally be like, you know what? Well, I'm really sorry about all that awful shit I did. It makes me sick with it. How can you ever forgive me? Because you are such a wonderful being. You never deserve that. I'm happy to chat about what might have led to that behavior in terms of the unfortunate suffering of your own father. But that will take time. For the most part, though, just understand that I'm sorry. I will do whatever I can to make sure, at the very least, I don't behave that way to you ever again. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to throw things back at you. I like that part of me that has sometimes felt the uncontrollable need to put you down, or to deride, or to expose you to disintegrating or violent behavior from myself or others. That is prima facie appalling. It had, no doubt, extremely detrimental effects upon your life, my son. Extremely effects. That is what's real, and I never had the right to tell you you didn't know what's real. I showed you the worst of what I had to offer, and you took it as much as you could, and you did try, but I did not listen, and I couldn't. Can you ever forgive me? But you're not going to hear it, ever. You want to, or something like that. You can even feel that in your heart. You could say, you know, if my dad could, he would say that. I told my dad, if you ever really want my forgiveness, it's yours. One of the last things I said to him, just so you know, but that's something you gotta do. It doesn't do anything for me, but at least it would give him some peace. Right? It's for me to pretend that, you know, he would one day say that. Or my mom would one day say that. But they can't. And what are you gonna do about it? Live in pain? Live with that lonely, empty cavity inside of you? Have narcissists and crackpot charlatans and therapists fucking dump all over you and act like they know your problems when they can't even admit their own family issues? Because they can't even comprehend what you can't comprehend. And they don't have the balls of the honesty to tell you that. They've been taught to be the knower, the healer, the one who knows better and can show you the way because these powerful words told me that I could. They're no better than fundamentalist Christians or Jews or Muslims. They're empty. They've just got the role they've learned to play. And on top of which, they don't want any question of that role because that's what does it for them. That's their drug. Because wearing a costume lowers your inhibitions and it gets rid of your pain. It advances, though the logical extent, of deeper parts of your brain that have tried to deal with all of the incredible pain of distance. Boom! The logical extent of what they want to do, give you ease, is to completely become somebody else. And to take on a role with other people doing the same thing. But what do you think that costs to keep up that charade? Well, that's economics. It takes people's lives, it takes people's money, it takes their peace of mind, it takes their children, it takes their mothers, it takes their fathers, it takes all of its fucking minerals, it sucks the fucking intellect, it fucks all the real empathy and replaces it with shite. It's like having the best car in the world and having it replaced with the shittiest possible components. And all you have to do, because it drugs you out of your mind when you press the key, is sit there and pretend you're fucking driving. But you're not fucking going anywhere. And what's more, you still find a way to hurt people and run them over with your car. But you're never in control of yourself. And by the time you read about someone who gets into his car and mows down some young African boy, that's not the only problem. That's just a tiny little artifact, a tiny shard of the total lack of fucking control that you have when you become the person you need to be because your nature was first fucking tortured by the fucking world around you. And you have to become an actor on a stage. What an insult to think of humans as actors on a stage. They're people who pretend to be someone at the cost of human sacrifice. That's what an actor is. Human sacrifice demanded by their master, the owner of the theater, the owner of the Word of God, the people of the book. The owners, the voice of their own money. Cerberus, the owners and voice of your mothers and fathers' peace, and the greatness and power of their birth and yours, and all the wonderful spring-like measures that respect the capacity of the human body to regenerate itself from spring to spring, and the spirit to move with this vessel and that from one world to the next time. And not to live a life of agony where we but wish for death, but to live a life full of such joy that death disappears entirely. And there's no thought of it. Because once that world approaches, it's like, oh, the heart of my hearts has somewhere to go and something else to do. Somewhere else to go. And how spare a moment then to be sad for what we lost while we lived upon this earth. Because we live in a world that's rolled a fucking stone in front of the sun. And no one's found a way to roll it back. Thankful that that stone is the center of our heart. Because the heart of the earth is a stone, and no amount of money can buy it. Hear this sound. Yes, and she's known me since I've been in and gotten out of various cults. You know, life is happiness. Life is happiness. Life is happiness. Hi. Hi there. That's about the only sun on That's about the only sun on Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Putting in a few days for a timeless world.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's done.
Sounds good, yeah. Doesn't really feel like
I think we're all waiting for that.
That's good. I'll look forward to Friday. Material way. And so you listen to these songs, I'm a material girl. And regardless of what you think that means, it has messages. We start with that. We don't say, hey, what is the message of this song? But we say, it has messages. Messages which are not necessarily immediately clear. Even though, if you hear the song and you like it, you feel like, hey, the message is clear. I'm a material girl, and I love it. I'm living in a material world, and I'm enjoying myself. Whew, I'm feeling great, right? And that's where it ends. But there's more to it than that. Everything you hear and everything you see has messages embedded in it. Those messages have to do with sex. They have to do with gender. They have to do with the nature of reality. They have to do with generating chemicals in your brain. And giving up a certain language, a certain ragefulness, a certain level of palatable torture from which you can get a certain amount of palatable pleasure. Never really to be separated from it. Never to have extreme pain-free pleasure of sex, because it is imagined that the world always goes in pain. To be sex and pain, pleasure, pain, betrayal, infidelity, divorce, more pain. It almost seems like getting divorced should be fun. It's like, hey, like there was a character on Friends named Ross. He's divorced 3 times. He makes a joke. Oh, I'm the divorce force. I'm the divorcer. That would be my name if I was a hero, a Marvel Comics hero, the Divorcer. Of course, he liked comics when he was young. He's a science geek, right? He has this magical thinking. He's an anthropologist. He believes in dinosaurs still, right? He looks at the world in magical thinking, putting bones together, right? Making sure no one steals his sandwich out of the refrigerator, making sure he sits with the other doctors and not with the regular museum staff who get minimum wage. Following the economics of the institution he lives in. It makes it seem like divorce is fun. You know, you love people, it's not quite right, but there's that person, and you'll find them eventually. But it just takes work. But why? Why does it take so much work? You know, why is it so painful? Well, you see, you wouldn't have my TV show if humans didn't have pain, right? You couldn't have a relationship that took 10 years to come together on the TV show Friends. Even then, who can be that sure? Right? First comes the baby, then comes marriage. I don't remember that. I don't think that's how the song's supposed to go. Right? Meanwhile, the love of your life is just fucking random men. Exciting. You know? Phoebe out as a very sexually uninhibited person, but a beautiful man on her massage table where it's like, oh no, you're an awful person. Another man gets an erection and she's like, oh my, this is exciting. You never know quite what her morals really are. You notice that people in movies are always kind of morally ambiguous. Whatever advances the plot. It's more important to have a personality than to have principles. Right? Oh, but Phoebe's got these principles. She's a vegetarian. But you can also handcuff the love of her life to pipes in the bottom of the building and leave him there and laugh about it. You know what they're talking about? You know, I always talk about how white people real estate or their personal problems or their health problems. They're talking about real estate. My realtor. Just to have a realtor is a pretty big deal for them. My realtor. Boy, I wish I had a realtor. And help me know what realty is. What field royalty. Realty is fealty to royalty. Did you know that? Realty is fealty to royalty. Okay? Owning your house is a form of fealty. And when you're in a cult, any cult, and you serve the head of the cult, it makes you feel good. Even when people pay these exorbitant mortgages, they expect to feel good about it. And when they don't, they just get more, they have to make more money, or they have to take it out on people. So they talk about their real estate all the time because it's their religion. It's their fealty. It's like people who live in this area in Vancouver Island who love the Queen royal family. You know, Queen Victoria came for tea at Butchart Gardens. You know, Queen Elizabeth came for tea. It's like, okay, a person pretending to be the queen of the world in here and drink some good tea and probably use your bathroom and urinate. And it is extraordinarily amazing why. I can do the same thing. Why is it different? Well, because you're not the one pretending to be the queen. That's not your station in the world. And a station really is like a role. It's magical thinking again. It's like, who cares about royalty? Oh, sure, it's real, it's not real. It's like a TV show. You can get involved in it, but it's like, it's not real. You know, Tom Cruise is actually female royalty. He's a white female royalty, married to Prince Harry. It's like, they're all over the place. It's an industry of deception and theater. What is inside that? My mother has nothing to do with these people. We watch a show called Heartland. But my mother is 10 times all these people really are. We watch it. I like it. There's thoughts and stuff. But there's a lot of sadness. And there's a lot of deception. There's a lot of divorce and there's a lot of death. Played for dramatic purposes. But what is a dramatic purpose? And someone says, "Oh, well, that's for dramatic purposes." You read books with death and violence, movies. Dramatic. What's a dramatic purpose? Right? Dramatic. Right? But that it covers. A theater covers things up. It puts a costume on. It covers up one thing. It kind of shows you something else. It covers up one thing. It's like, here's your mom and dad. Let them up with this black cloth and show you a wonderful story. Even though your mother and father are gone, they replace them. Agonies, ups, downs, life, death, and beyond. Science fiction, fantasy, history. There's lots to do. Keep working. Get your brain into a way of life where you can produce chemicals that help you to sustain any kind of residual grief you might have in leaving your parents behind and putting them in a home one day. And you'll never really know them at all. You never know how they felt. And you're living miles away. You don't know what they go through in life. You know what? They do a good job of never telling you. And then what do you have? What do you have for all the generations of your labor? Nothing. Nothing but the corpse you lay somewhere. She has probably a $2,500 to $5,000 camera lens. And she walked by me a couple times. It's like an inoffensive person, no offense, but has a humongous ass. And is overall probably 100 pounds overweight. Right? That's an example of the vortex of economics, right? Because she sat on her ass most of her life. She sat on her ass working. For thousands and thousands of days. Doing something that she wanted to do. Answering phones, accounting, government services, medical services. As I got older and getting used to looking in the mirror and saying, like, hey, you're not young anymore, kind of thing, right? But I don't think I'd ever want to look in the mirror and have an ass that big. And I don't think we should totally accept that. You know, she is carrying 50 pounds of crap on her ass. It is now just superfluous rolls of cellulite and fat tissue, full of that under the right conditions she could crap out of her ass. Most of the weight that she would lose when calories would be eliminating things out of her asshole. That's where, right? Then just a little walk she did out there and back again with her $5,000 camera lens isn't going to do it. And all the beautiful bird pictures in the world, right? Don't tell us the story. I just had the awful thought, what if he was sitting there? I would, I guess, he's not going to tell the story, you know? He's not going to tell the story. There's stories there. Stories. The big glasses that she's wearing, right? You know, there's still a woman in there. Beautiful woman somewhere. It's a beautiful girl. And you know, she sees that. Hopefully, friends see that. I understand. I'm a cruel, creepy stranger, but I've been around women who are overweight, and I know that there's more to it. And I'm often around them, and they try to control their food. They eat healthy, but they have no idea. They put on these pounds, much less how to take them off, because it's connected to their whole way of life. And she came to me and said, "Your ass is it? You pay me to be honest with you, right? Your ass is huge. If I was a woman, I'd probably get away. If I was a lesbian, I could probably. Your ass is. It's disgusting, right? You can't like it, right? I say you've gotten used to it. I get it. In the way that you've had to accommodate a lot of things, and it takes a beautiful, beautiful human being, and all the beauty of any woman who have lived in this world, to hold on to this stuff that you're holding on to. Okay? I respect that. That doesn't make you. If anything, it probably makes you more beautiful to anyone who matters. But you don't pay me to be one of those people. I'm here to be an asshole, to help your asshole lose the weight. Right? I want to make you crap. Right? Because there's people in this world who stopped you from crapping. There are things, you can be around people when you're young and you just don't crap enough. It's not just the food you're eating, you're not crapping enough. Right? You should crap out a certain weight of food based on what you've eaten the day before. Right? Right? Every half a steak is a line of poo. You understand? Every bowl of curry tikka is a shit. Right? If